Hello and welcome to the final episode of River Talk for this school year of 2014-2015. My name is Emily and today I am joined by my panelists
Jon Schluns,
Ryan Costello,
Aaron Cash Money Henry.
Simpson. Today we will be today our podcast is focusing on transferring and the great beyond. So many of our inaugural group are getting ready to graduate and move on to a four-year institution this year. I am headed off to the University of Iowa, as is our camera person Joe. John is heading
to Ashford,
and in the spring.
Yes, next spring I will be going to St. Ambrose.
So, as community college students, one of the most popular reasons for going to a community college is to transfer to a four-year institution, whether it be public, private, to get a higher degree. So, with so many different complications, we thought we'd talk about our own experiences with the transfer process. So, the first way I learned about transferring was mainly through my honor society of Phi Theta Kappa, of which Ryan is our new officer, I believe.
Yeah, co-president, actually. Yeah.
And they talk about transferring to a four-year institution, which is a lot like applying to a college the first time, only it's a little bit different. I mean, not only do you have your high school work behind you, but you also have some college work. You still have to get recommendations, you still have to get transcripts, and you still have to apply. But it's also different, as in you will have to focus on an intended major. What are your thoughts on the transfer process as you've gone through it, Ryan?
I have a different reasoning, I guess, for going on to get my bachelor's degree because I'm in vocational rehabilitation. So basically, with the tuition assistance that they gave me, they said, to get the full benefit, go for the bachelor's, which at the time I did, that was great. It still absolutely is, and I would like to actually probably go for a master's after that. But it was, so I really, I had that in mind before I even took my compass test here. So it was just one of those things where, being in community college helped me to learn a lot of lessons and things like that, which will help me transition
Definitely.
to four-year school. Rather than, I could have just gone to St. Ambrose, right away. But it has benefited me being here so much more. Simply because, I'm a non-traditional student. I haven't been in school since 1994, and so it was kind of weird getting back into being a student again. So
yeah, I was born in 1994.
And Audrey and I were born after that.
yeah. So that's my take on it. So I have kind of a, I was already kind of headed in that direction first, but was it different for you guys?
I guess when I started, I knew I was going to transfer to a four-year school. Basically, my whole reason of going to community college was to knock out 2 years on scholarship and getting an associate's degree so I could transfer as a junior. Because in the state of Iowa, anyone who graduates from an Iowa community college, if you can get into University of Iowa or Iowa State or UNI, they will have to accept all your gen eds, provided that you have an Associate of Arts degree, which means that apart from a possible foreign language requirement, you can go straight into upper level classes in whatever your major may be, whether it be political science, like I think that's what Joe was talking about, or economics, or what path do you kind of pursue?
Multimedia journalism.
Or business, like John's going.
Yep.
I kind of found the process, this is my first real college application process, so I found it was quite interesting, especially considering at the same time schools were pursuing me, like schools I'd never heard of before, just for joining groups like Phi Theta Kappa or Honor Society. At the same time, how maddening it was when trying to apply for financial aid and things like that. John?
Well, the reason why I chose community college was kind of to save money. You see, you're not going to go into, if I would have went to either Ashford or Ambush, which we're going to go to Ambush, but it cost too much money and it was not a good drive from DeWitt to Ambush, which is more economically for Ashford. I chose that school because I would be in and out within a reasonable amount of time. I got a lot of scholarship and almost a free ride, so I won't be in debt, and that would mean that I could buy a house afterwards. So, yes.
What are some of the technical things that you went through in applying and getting accepted and applying for financial aid and going for your degree?
I only got the scholarship. I didn't apply for financial aid.
Ryan, have you applied for financial aid yet for seniors?
Yeah. I have. I'm already, through the entire process and really.
Are there anything that you'd like to note that you think like Audrey or Aaron should know if when they're going through this process, or they're going to St. Ambrose or some other university? I think Aaron was talking about Ohio State, and Audrey was talking about some university out in Pennsylvania, I think it was?
I don't know. Just wherever. Whatever
Okay.
wants to take me.
Okay. Do you like any technical stuff that you, or headaches you might have found along transferring to St. Ambrose? I know you got was it like a $12,000 PCK scholarship for going to St. Ambrose?
Yes. Yeah.
And were there any other financial aid things that was different from applying to community college financial aid?
No, not really. What really helped was being in PTK, like she said. That was a huge chunk out of the debt that I will be, taking on, and applying for scholarships in, like I've said, $50 is $50. It don't matter. Apply for every single one that's out there. That's right, cash money. And that's what it's all about, is getting a good education and not being in debt until you're 80 years old with whatever you choose. It just depends on what field you're going to go into too, as well. I mean, my field is going to be all about, just as much work as I do is about as much as I'm going to get paid.
Yeah.
Whereas, if you become like in a medical field or something like that, you're pretty much guaranteed that you're going to get paid pretty well. So it really depends. You got to watch the money.
One thing, I actually did a degree audit for my economics program just yesterday as part of the Transition to Iowa course, which all students are required to take. It's a free online course that you have to complete part 1 of before orientation. And I found out that almost all of my gen ed requirements were knocked out. The only classes I would have to take in a huge lecture hall would be college and matrix algebra for business, a prereq for some of my econ courses, and also a statistics class, which I thought was really nice as a benefit of attending a community college first. Do you two have any questions about transferring or the transfer process? I mean, I was in PTK. Ryan and I can answer a lot of questions, and even if you need first-hand experiences.
Actually, I do have a question for you, Emily. As I remember that you live in the state of Illinois, correct?
Yeah.
How did you get since you don't have in-state tuition? How did you get? I know you got a lot of scholarships for your grades, and how does in-state tuition, out-of-state tuition affect your choice?
Out-of-state tuition, I actually didn't apply to University of Illinois because I missed the deadline, and I had to apply as a freshman, so I will be taking on about $14,000 in debt in a year, roughly, give or take a few. But the nice thing about having graduated from CCC is that all of my gen ed credits will be knocked out, so I'll only be there for a maximum of 2.5 years before going straight into the workforce. And since I do plan on working for government or nonprofit, my federal loans should be knocked out within 10 years.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't both sides of the river kind of in the same category?
Only for certain schools like Western Illinois University and Eastern Illinois University have articulation agreements with Iowa and Wisconsin and Missouri and Indiana. However, none of the Iowa schools do, and private schools, it doesn't really matter.
Oh, okay.
So I am taking on loans. However, the University of Iowa was the only place I could guarantee that my credits would all go through, and that's why I chose that school versus University of Wisconsin or University of Minnesota, where I was also accepted. Do you have any other questions? I know that certain majors will have different requirements. Like if you're going to this college of education, like yours provides interest in, they might have different prereq requirements. And while your gen eds will knock out, you may have a harder time placing in some of the things because, let's face it, not all courses will transfer equivalently. I mean, education class at CCC might not be the education class that you and I wanted for as a prereq for something else.
Yeah.
You have a unique situation that you're graduating high school at the same time that you're graduating with your associate's degree. How do you how do you apply to colleges that way? How does that freshman but has an associate's degree thing work?
So, unfortunately, and my dad is actually going to pick this up with the state of Iowa, some person, he serves on a lot of boards as a member of the school, the faculty senate. I had to apply as a freshman because, let's face it, schools are not friendly to students who like you and me for whatever reason. It doesn't matter if you've proven yourself with 60 hours of credit. If you haven't graduated from high school, they want you to apply as a freshman. I don't know if it's because of age or what. I found it annoying, if nothing else, because I felt like they were discounting my work. University of Iowa was actually a pretty easy application. You basically had to fill in how many credit hours. So if you're applying to Iowa, I can't say anything for Iowa State or UNI because I really don't know, or any of the other schools. It's basically you fill in a bunch of blanks and you send your transcripts, but you do have to apply as a freshman. And I did contact all of my schools before I did it. They often quite open on their website. However, they were nice enough to take in my transfer credit for my degree audit that I saw yesterday. So they will, if you have your associate's degree, they will have to accept you as you're at least at an Iowa school. Iowa State schools, since they don't have the articulation agreements, they tend to be a bit more picky because they can afford to be. But the nice thing about it is that Iowa has more freshman scholarships than they do transfer scholarships, and that was, while they won't let you combine it, I did not get my PCK scholarship because I haven't officially graduated. But you go through the freshman process because you're not the right age. I think that helped me, especially if you're planning on applying to a bigger name school, like one of the Ivies or a big name private school like Vanderbilt. It's easier to get in as a freshman than as a transfer, believe it or not. They accept 5 or 10 transfer students a year from what I've read in some cases. It's really crazy.
Actually, sorry to hit on everyone, but Emily, my question is why didn't you not choose a private school where you have the student-teacher ratio is very as in 11:1 in some schools for private private schools? Why did you go to why are you going to a big school like an Iowa?
Because my field, I want to go into economics and policy, and probably politics. I want a big, decent name that everyone knows. Not everyone knows Ashford, Senior Rose, or Augustana. I want something that has a bunch of wide range of programs and decently professors. I know Iowa's the least prestigious economic school in the Big Ten. However, I just wanted the opportunities that big name school would give me, and plus, I kind of wanted to get out of small town as well.
I'm more worried about getting on with my life as at this moment. I'm kind of thinking, well, I've been in school for, assuming I live to 100, I would say I could very well be in school for 1/4 of that, which I'm thinking it's a bit ridiculous. I'm not just in school, I'm just saying it's a long time.
Yeah, and I don't have that time constraint because I was able when I got 2 years in high school.
That's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So different.
Yeah, I'm thinking, hey, I want to kind of
Move
go
on.
beyond, move on.
Yeah.
Okay, we have some other business we need to get to today. Before we stop this topic, does anyone have any last advice you want to share with them on transferring?
Covered.
I would say look into it early, have a good idea, and then apply as soon as possible so you don't miss deadlines. That was my biggest mistake.
Yeah, just pay attention to what the cost is versus what the benefits are, I guess. You know, ultimately, that's what it boils down to, higher education.
And keep your eyes open for new opportunities that you didn't think of before. Okay, moving on. As you can see on the board, you'll have some goodbyes to make and some happy goodbyes. John, Joe, Justin, and I, along with our two-time panelist, Chris Kennedy, I regret to say this is our last podcast. We will not be joining you ever again because, like I said, we are moving on and graduating. Like we said before, John's going to Ashford, I'm going to Iowa, and Joe will also be joining me at University of Iowa this fall. So, today we're going to hand off the podcast to our, okay, fine. Let's give a round of applause to our 2015 graduates. Woo. That means that we will officially need to hand this podcast off. I mean, as a founder, I am so happy with the way this has gone. I just want to say thank you guys for all being a part of this. But it's time to pass off the duties of officers to our new cord. Ryan has agreed to be the new head of continuity, meaning that he will be responsible for as a power check between our other members, as well as the board of chairmen. He will help make sure there is no disagreements and to settle them, and also help choose topics to make sure things go well. Aaron Henry has agreed to be our head of operations chairman and serving on committees and helping make sure our podcast gets out into the world next year, from the camera stuff to the publicity and everything else. Audrey has agreed to be the head of affairs, basically the chief president, organizer, and the other member of our big three. So congratulations to our round of officers. Also, Dr. Orlean has agreed to stay on as our advisor for this fall. And yeah! Put on the camera. So, just as a fun thing, they said they want to do this on camera. John and I are going to administer the River Talk Oath of Office, which was created by a committee today.
Today.
Okay. Can I ask you all to raise your right hand and repeat after me? I, insert your name here, promise to uphold the ideals.
I, Ryan Costello,
Audrey.
promise to uphold the ideals
of openness, opinion, and opposition.
of openness, opinion, and opposition
In the role of, insert your role here,
in the role of, you first,
Head of affairs.
you,
Head of the internet.
operations.
Operations.
And marketing.
and czar of continuity.
Of River Talk here at Clinton Community College.
Here at Clinton Community College.
Here at Clinton Community College.
Oh, here at Clinton.
Congratulations to our new officers. We officially hand this podcast over to you. Do you have any advice for this group, John?
Oh, just make sure to be entertaining and ensure that that you get as much viewers as possible. The more people who know, the more success.
Also, little thing, may River Talk always remain open and entertaining. May you guys have personality and new people. May the debate always be interesting and may you never fall apart.
And I will say we will not die.
No.
We will make sure we will keep you in mind as our founder, or as the founder of River Talk, Emily Legel, and
Jon Schluns.
Jon
We
Schluns.
couldn't have done it without John. I
we
say that.
thank you for this broadcast, and it's been a pleasure to be with the wonderful four. Actually, it's been a pleasure all year being with everyone, and I'm glad that next year will be. It's gonna be fun.
All right, thank you again. Thank you for watching River Talk. We will be doing a couple extra videos that people